Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon. Have you completed the yesterday's task which I gave you? I told you
Yes,
to draw the Tableau column. Have you calculated it?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, was it easy to calculate?
Yes.
Okay. All of you? Did all of you calculate? Okay. So, 1 minute. Just a minute. I'll change the settings and come like. I think there are some issues in MS Teams. Like whenever we are logging in, all are becoming there. I think I've changed the setting, but again it's changing. Okay, so let me start sharing my content. Okay, so is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can check your answers whether you got the same thing. I asked you to calculate the total float and free float and list in the Tableau column like this. So your critical paths, that is your activity taking the path 1 to 3 and 3 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8 and 8 to 9. That will be having 0 total float and 0 free float. Remaining others you will be having some numericals. When both the total float and free float are becoming 0, that will be letting you to a critical path. So that will be your critical path. You can check the values for all the activities, total float and free float.
I'm getting the same answer.
You're getting the same. Okay, fine. Then it's okay. If any one of you is getting different answer, was this problem simple to work out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So this is how you calculate your total float and free float. When they are asking you in the question just to calculate the total float and free float, you're going to calculate it. So they've asked you to construct the CPM network that you have done and determine the critical path and project completion time. That is like after calculating everything by just checking with your boxes, that is your LCs and your ES, when both are the same, that time it becomes that path when you track that falls as your critical path, and you calculate the project completion time for that particular path alone, and you compute the total floats and free floats. So both you know how to calculate, you have calculated. They're asking the question like compute the TF and FF for non-critical activities. So you know for critical activities it is going to be 0, both are going to be 0. Then asking for the non-critical activities, that is what we have calculated in the from the previous question. So we have calculated the total and free float for the non-critical activities. So we have completed this problem. And now as a result, what you should do is you should complete the Tableau column. Again, you have to draw the critical path, your network diagram and mark the critical path. Don't forget to mark your critical path in all your diagrams. If you miss out your critical path diagram, you will be definitely losing marks for it. Each and every steps in this problems are going to carry marks. Any critical activity having this is activity will have 0 total float and 0 free float. Based upon the property, we call them to determine as critical activities. So we know this path is going to be our critical activity. We have confirmed that this is the critical activity by calculating a total float and free float. So we know this is the critical path and it is carrying 28 weeks. So we'll move on to the next problem. So this is the problem that we started with that the previous day. So additional parameter, what they are asking here is the independent floats. For that, first I wanted you people to know what is total float, free float, and independent float. So that's the reason we started with our previous problem. We completed total float and free float. Now we'll be calculating the independent float also in this project, in this problem. And I think we have calculated, we have created our network diagram, right? I think we have drawn our,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So this is you can all take your notes, get ready for solving this problem. You're going to tell me the answer for this. So if you're done with the network diagram, it is okay. If you haven't drawn the diagram, take a minute and you can frame the diagram now and we'll proceed later. So if you want me to draw this diagram again for you, I can. So the first step is, it is, 1 minute. Push this. So the network diagram is about, it starts with 0. It has 1. After that, it is going to 1 to 2. So it is going to have 2 here. Again, it is 1 to 3. From here, it is going to have 3 here. So this is 2 and this is 3. And next is 2 to 4. From 2, you're going to have 4. Again, from 3, you're going to have another 4. So I am drawing a 4 in between both of it so that it will be easy for me to connect it. So I'm connecting like this. And this is done. 2 to 4 is done. I'm moving 2 to 5. So from 2, I'm going to create another activity which is leading to my 5th node. So this is done. 5. Okay, next 3 to 6. So I have my 3 here. I'm going to connect that to another activity called 6. So that is done. And now my 4, 5, 6 all are getting connected to the activity called 7. So I'm drawing an activity 7 here, from where it is possible for me to connect from 6, 4 and 5. So this is my network diagram. Now I have drawn the arrow diagram. So that is done. Next step is identify the critical path and find the total project duration. So I'm going to identify my critical path as well as I'm going to determine the free float and total float. For identifying the float, what do you require?
Early start time and late completion time.
So we have to, like, after drawing a diagram, you can mention the time duration. After marking it, you can start drawing your boxes. If you're comfortable with drawing the boxes, either you can, or if you're not comfortable with the boxes, you can mention E is equal to and L is equal to. This also you can do. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can do it. Okay. But if you're going for boxes, I wanted all of you to mention that the upper box denotes LC and the lower box denotes EC or the vice ES or the vice versa. You have to mention in your near your diagram, only then I'll be able to understand like which is ES and which is LS. Probably one will be preferring to take the upper part and the other will be preferring to take the lower part. Whichever you're comfortable, you can take, but do mention it in your network diagram so that it will be easy for me to check it. So you can either go by this box method or you can draw like this. So now we are going to calculate the early start and latest completion time. So can you all start calculating it? So you know the network diagram, you know how to calculate your early start. So we always start with our 0th activity and then we'll be completing with our 7th activity. So this is the start and this is the end. So can you all start calculating it? You can draw the box. I am going to mention my bottom box as ES. This is my ES, that is the early start, and this is my latest completion. Top I'm going to produce as my latest completion. So can you start drawing, calculating? For my 0th activity, it is going to be 0 here. And for my first activity, so what I'm going to do, 0 plus 2, that will give me 2. When I go to my third activity, or I can go to my second activity. Yeah, I'll go to my second activity. So when I go to my second activity, I'll be having 2 plus 8 duration here. So it is 10. Okay. Now when I go to my third activity, it is going to be 2 plus 10 gives me 12. So I'm marking it as 12. And now I'm going to my fifth activity. Can I ask, ma'am, why you didn't go to 4 directly or going to 5? For 4, I'm having 2 possibilities, whereas for 5, I'm having only 1. So let me complete my 5 and come to 4. So here it is 10 plus 3. So it is going to be 13. So for my sixth activity, I'm drawing a box here. So here it is 12 plus 7. That is going to give me 19. Are you all along with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have calculated all the individual nodes. Now, when I'm coming to my fourth activity, I have two immediate predecessors. That is my 3 to 4 and 2 to 4. I have two different possibilities. So I'm going to take the maximum. For the early start, we have to calculate the maximum. So it is 10 plus 6 gives me 16 here. And if I go by here, it gives me 12 plus 3 as 15. So I choose 2 to 4, which gives me 16. That is the maximum value. And now finally I have only my seventh activity left. For my seventh activity, what possibilities I have is from 5 to 7, it is 13 plus 2 is 15. And from 4 to 7, it is 16 plus 5 is 21. And here 6 to 8, sorry, 6 to 7, I have 19 plus 8 is equal to 27. So I will be preferring this route where it gives me the maximum. That is, it is 27. Have you all calculated it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I want your people to calculate in the reverse, that is the backward pass. So you can calculate and you can tell me the value so that I'll enter the value the upper part of the boxes.
Ma'am, I have calculated.
Yeah. I'll take a different color. You can calculate and tell me the values.
Ma'am, last will 27.
Yeah, this is 27.
And then at 6 it will be 19.
At 6 it is 9.
6.
Okay, at 6 it is 19. Okay.
At 4 it will be 22.
4 it will be 22.
At 5 it will be 25.
25.
At 2 it will be 16.
2 it is 16.
At 3 it will be 12.
Okay.
And at 1 it will be 2.
Okay.
And at 0 it will be 0.
Okay. So this is how you calculate your latest completion time. That is from your backward, from your end activity, you move to your start activity. And when you're moving in locations like this, where you have two possibilities, probably at your second node, you have the possibility from 2 to 5 and 2 to 4. That time you have to choose only your least value. When you're going for the backward pass, always do remember you have to choose the minimum value. And this is our calculation of early start and latest completion time. Any one of you, do you have any doubts?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
So the first and last activity will have same LC and E as always.
Yeah, it'll be having mostly it'll be the same.
Okay.
But anyways, the last will be the same because you are going to consider this. You have the 27 here, which means when we are having, when you're going by your early start calculation, you're choosing only the maximum value, which means that path which you're leading will be your critical path. The max for this node, probably at this fourth node, you take only the maximum value. And again, at the seventh node, you take only the maximum value. So you're choosing your calculation, you're making your durations only at the maximum. That will lead you to the critical path. That is 27 is your total duration. So you're taking the, early start of the 7th activity, that is 27, you're taking the same 27 only, you're writing it here. Because that is the maximum duration there. So that will definitely not change. It is going to be the same.
Okay.
Okay. So you have calculated. Shall we move on to the next step? So this is a calculation of your latest completion and your early start. After this steps I have given. If you're stuck somewhere else, you can refer to this steps and you can verify it. And this, now you're going to calculate, draw a tabular column, and you're going to calculate your remaining parameters. So what all they have asked you? They have asked you the total float, free float, and intermediate float. So they have asked you only the independent floats, not the interference float. Okay, independent float they have asked. So these three parameters you're going to calculate. For calculation of this, first you have to list all the nodes and the name of the activities, the durations, and now out of these parameters you have calculated the early start time and the latest finish time. Latest finish time is nothing but your latest completion time. Completion and finish means the same. So you can use any term you want. You can either put it as LCT or you can put it as LFT. Okay. So,
ma'am,
you know, yeah.
I'm like, while I calculate this independent factor,
Yeah.
I got for two activities 2 to 4 and 2 to 5 value was negative. So we need to exclude that and write 0 there.
Yeah, definitely. Your duration cannot go in the negative stage. So in that situation, you have to ignore that negative and write it as 0.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So you're going to list out all your nodes and your time durations. So probably this you know, and this you know, and this early start and the latest finish time you know. Then that's nothing but how we are going to write is. When it comes to this, that is 0 to 1 activity. Your early start, your latest finish time is going to be 0, and this is going to be 2. Sorry. When you come to this node, 1 minute. When you come to this node, that is from 0 to 1, your early start is going to be this. You started with this. So this is your early start. So 0 to 1 means you end up in your first activity. That time you have to mention this 2. That this is your latest completion time. Yeah, so I am mentioning 0 as my early start and 2 as my latest completion or my latest finish time. So likewise, I have took for 0 to first node. You have to list it for all the nodes. For each and every node you have to consider, and you have to list all your EST and your LFT values. After listing out this, you are going to calculate your LST and EFT. For the calculation of LST, this is the formula. Latest finish time minus duration. So I can tell that LST is equal to latest finish time, that is 2 minus duration is 2. 2 minus 2 gives me 0. Similarly, it is 16 here in the third row. So 16 minus 8 will give me 8 as my latest start time. Similarly, it is 12 minus 2. So that gives me, 12 minus 10, that gives me 2. So this is the calculation of LST. And next I have to calculate my EFT. For my EFT, I use the formula EST plus time duration. For calculating the EFT, I choose to add this. That is nothing but duration plus ESTs. So 2 plus 0 gives me 2, 8 plus 2 gives me 10, 10 plus 2 gives me 12, 6 plus 2 gives me 16, 6 plus 10 gives me 16, 3 plus 12 gives me 15. So this is how I'm going to calculate my EFTs. So this is also done. This is also simple. So you know for this first you know how to calculate EST and LFT. Similarly, you're going to use the formula and calculate LST and EFTs. So you have calculated the 4 parameters. Now you want to calculate only your TF, FF and your IF. TF is nothing but you have the formula total float is equal to either you can go by LST minus EST or you can go by LFT minus EFT. So when you minus this, you will be getting 0 minus 0 is 0, or you can either go by 2 minus 2 is 0. So whichever thing you can, which is comfortable for you, you can use. That is total float. LST minus EST or LFT minus EFT. So when you find the difference, you will be able to calculate the total float. And next you are going to calculate the free float. For free float, I am choosing total float minus slack of end activity, end or the head activity. So when I have an activity like this, so this is going to be my tail, and this is my end or my head. So I am going to find the difference. The difference is nothing but the slack. So when I calculate in this manner, it's nothing but I'm going to calculate the slack of end activity. So this is my tail and this is my head or my end. So slack is nothing but the difference between your early start and your latest completion. 2 minus 2 will give you 0. So I already have 0 here, and my total float is, see, my total float is 0 here. So 0 minus slack of my end event is 0. So 0 minus 0 is going to give me 0. This is how you calculate your free float. So that also you have calculated. And the last thing is nothing but your independent float. For the independent float, are you all clear with this total float and free float?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a calculation of independent float. For independent float, it is nothing but free float minus slack of tail event. So tail, as you remember, this is going to be my tail event, and this is going to be my end or head event. This H, okay, end or head event. So I am in this track. I have to calculate my slack of tail end. I know my free float. My free float here is 0. So I know for my first to second activity it is 0 minus, I'm going to calculate this. So I should choose the slack of tail event. So when I come to my tail event, it is 2 minus 2. My latest completion minus my latest start, that gives me 2 minus 2 is 0. So I can calculate it. Already I have my free float as 0. 0 minus 0 will give me 0. This is how I'm going to calculate my independent floats. And this is for my node 1 to 2, and again for my 2 to 4. As I do remember if Nirbhai said, it's like for my activity 2 to 4, for my 2 to 4 activity. So at this location. So what happens is I'm going to calculate my independent float. For calculating my independent float, I have to choose the formula free float minus slack of tail event. So when I come here, my free float is already 0. I have calculated. Now I'm going to calculate my slack of tail event. For my slack of tail event, this is my tail portion. For my tail portion, it is 16 minus 10 gives me 6. So I am putting it as free float minus slack of tail. 0 minus 6 gives me minus 0. So in that location, my duration cannot be written in negative values. For that reason, I'm just rewriting it as 0. Like that's no way going to affect my duration there, but I'm just giving it as 0. And I am mentioning this location as 0. This independent float, I'm mentioning it as 0. So you should not mention the negative values. You should mention only it as 0, and you have to just close it off. So after this is how you are going to calculate your independent floats for all the set of activities. So after calculating, now you're going to identify your critical path. For the calculation of critical path, what we'll do, what will help you to calculate the critical path? Anyone? How shall I calculate my critical path?
Ma'am, we'll check that earliest completion time and latest completion time, same value.
Okay. Using the floats, how can I tell?
Whose total float and free float are 0.
Yeah, whose total float and free float are 0, that will be my critical path. So when I have list of 7, 8 or 9 activities here, so I choose my zeros. So this is my 0, and the total float and free float of my first and third activity is also 0. And my third and sixth activities total float and free float are 0. And my sixth and seventh activities total float and free float are 0. So now I can connect my activities in the row called 0 to 1. So for the first thing I have 0 to 1, and the next thing I have is 1 to 3. So I can again name it as 3. I'm connecting it. So 3. After 3, I have 3 to 6 as my zero floats. So I go to 6. After 6, I'm going to 6 to 7. That is my 7th activity. So if I follow this path 0 to 1, 0 to 1 to 3 to 6 to 7, if I follow this path, that will lead me my critical path. That will give me a sum of 27 weeks or days there. What's the thing? Okay, so it will give me 27. Is it okay? This is how you calculate your critical path by like you know how to calculate the critical path previously. But we are just confirming whether what you have calculated is correct here. Using the terms free float and total float, you are going to cross check it, or you're going to cross examine it whether what you have calculated is right here. So that's it. You are done with this problem. And finally, again, I'm going to draw my network diagram. I'm going to mark my activities. And here and after, when you're calculating your free floats, that time you have to draw this box. It's not just you write your activity name and duration and plot the critical path. You should mark these boxes and list the earliest start and the latest completion time, and then you have to bold or either highlight or draw a double line or bold this critical path. Is it okay? So after this, again, I'm mentioning it. The path following 0 total floats and 0 like it has been asked in the question, you have to determine the total float and free float. Out of my total float and free float, I am verifying that my critical path is following the 0 TF and 0 FF. So that I should mention there. The path following 0 TF and 0 FF is called as critical path, which follows the path of 1 to 3 to 0 to 1 to 3 to 6 to 7 path. With the activities, I'm also naming the activities. So the activities are A, C, H, and J. So this path I'm going to follow with a duration of 27 days. Not to be weeks, it is days. Okay. So total of 27 days. So you have any doubts in this problem? Any doubt? So many terms, ma'am, like earliest start, latest completion. So it's confusing, ma'am. If you sit and practice, it will not confuse. Yes. Shall we move to the next concept? You can take a screenshot of this. You can try this problem if you want. If you have any doubts, you can put that question to me. All of you are clear. Nobody has no doubts. Yes. Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any doubt, I'll send this slides today so you can sit and practice. You can like once you practice, you'll be having so many doubts. So wherever you have the doubt, you take the snap of that particular slide and you can highlight and send it to me. I don't want any doubts through WhatsApp. Kindly don't want any doubts through WhatsApp. Just post it in the Google Classroom or in Teams as well. Wherever you're comfortable, you can post. I'll check it. We're done with this. So we are completed our CPM parts, and now we are moving to our PERT networks. As if you do remember, we have two different network diagrams. One is our critical path method, and another is our PERT networks. PERT is nothing but the program evaluation review techniques. So now we are going to see our PERT networks. So PERT, previously we saw related to our like how you are going to calculate the critical path, but here it will be completely related to your time only. So that is all related to your PERT. Time is the most essential and basic variable in PERT system of planning and control. In general, two approaches may be used for the assessment of the duration for activity completion. The first approach is deterministic approach, in which a single estimate of time gives reasonably accurate results, and this approach is called as CPM uses. You know, like we have calculated CPM. Now we will be moving on to your PERT planners. They usually call people who follow CPM, they call it as CPM users, and people who are using PERT methods, PERT networks, they do call them as PERT planners. This is the universal term they do use for it. The second approach is the probabilistic approach, in which one may only be able to state limits within which it is virtually certain that the activity duration will lie. Between these limits, we must guess what is the probability of executing the activity. So we are going to check whether this activity which you are going to carry is feasible or not. We are going to check the probability whether this is going to work out or not. And PERT. Thus, to take the uncertainties into account, PERT planners make three different types of time estimates. For determining the time, they do follow three different types of time estimates. One is the optimistic time estimates, next is the pessimistic time estimates, and third one is the most likely time estimates. So three different time estimates are the optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely time estimate. So optimistic time estimates will be denoted by TO. This is the shortest possible time in an activity which can be completed under ideal conditions. This particular time estimate represents the time in which we could complete the activity if everything went along perfectly with no problems or adverse conditions. Better than normal conditions are assumed to prevail. So this is the shortest possible time that you're going to calculate is the optimistic time estimate. The pessimistic time estimate. For the pessimistic time estimate, it is the best guess of maximum time. The maximum time you give for the project to get it completed. This particular time estimate represents the time it may take us to complete a particular activity if everything went wrong or abnormal situation. You're giving some extra time so that if there is any flaws or something has been happened or any like probably there is downtime of your equipment, you require to repair it. For that you need some time. So considering all the extras time you give it, that will be able to identify your pessimistic time estimate. However, that estimate does not include possible effects of highly unusual catastrophes such as earthquakes, floods. These are natural calamities that we are not going to give it as a possible effects. We are going to give only like man-made errors. We are going to give as time. Probably you will be having some faults in your materials that you have to replace, faults in your equipments that you need to replace. You need some financial circulation. For that you give some time, as well as your manpower you require. Maybe due to shortage of manpower you will not be able to complete your task. For that only for the items related to your men, material and money only you're going to give your time estimates. And the most likely time estimate, the most probable time is that in the mind of the estimate represents the time the activity would most often require if normal conditions prefer. So frequent requirement of time. The time estimate lies between the optimistic and pessimistic time estimates. The time estimate reflects a situation where conditions are normal, things are usual, and there is nothing excited. So under the normal condition, you calculate it as TL, T capital L. So this is your most likely time estimate. So for your PERT, it is going to be PERT is based on the assumptions that an activity's duration follows a probability distribution. So you do have a probability distribution based upon a single value. So three time estimates are there, which we saw. Pessimistic, that the time the activity would take if nothing didn't go well. So next, optimistic is the time the activity would take if everything goes well. And most likely is the consensus between the estimate of the activity's duration, which is nothing but the normal time which you require. So this is the formulas used to calculate the mean and the variance. So mean the expected time, that is you denote it as TE because it is the estimated time which you are going to calculate it. So TE is equal to TO plus 4TL. L is your most likely time and TP is the pessimistic time. So it is nothing but TO plus TP plus 4TL divided by 6. This gives you the mean expected time. And variance is nothing but your TP minus T0 by 6 the whole square. So this is your formulas used to calculate your mean and your variance. Calculation of your PERT analysis. For CPM analysis, you saw some method how to calculate your CPM analysis. Similarly, for PERT, you're going to draw the network. In some cases, your networks will be given where you have to directly calculate the time estimates. In another cases, like they'll be giving only the activities and the durations. You have to frame your network and you have to calculate the critical path or the time estimate, whatever is asked in the question that you're going to calculate. So draw the network, analyze the paths through which the network and find the critical path. The length of the critical path is the mean of the project duration probability distribution, which is assumed to be normal. The standard deviation of the project duration probability distribution is computed by adding the variances of the critical activities, all of the activities that make up the critical activity, and take up the square root of the sum. That you're going to take it as a standard deviation. Probability computations can now be made using normal distribution table. So we will see one example for this with the formulas which we saw in the previous slide. So the network of a certain project is shown in the figure. So this is a network of a certain project. Determine the expected time for each of the path. Which path is critical? So what they are asking to determine the expected time for each path. Each path means you have to first analyze how many paths are there in this diagram. So how many paths are there? Can you tell me the list of paths? It is?
Ma'am, 4 paths are there.
Yeah, 4 paths are there. So first is 1, 2, 7 and 8. That is my first path. My second path is going to be 1, 2, 6, 8. 1, 2 and 6, 8. My third path, it is 1, 3, 6, 8. So it goes as a straight line. 1, 3, 6 and 8. So this is my third path. And my fourth path is 1, 4, 5, 6, 8. It is 1, 4, 5, 6 and 8. So this is my 4 possible paths I have. So I have to calculate the time estimated for each path and identify which is my critical path. So you have 3 variables here, that is 6, 8, 11. 3 numerals are here, that is the time durations. 6, 8, 11, 8, 10, 12, 4, 8, 14. You have 3 different things. So how you're going to take this is you're going to list out the paths and this is your time durations. For your path A, that is 1 to 2 to 2 to 7 to 7 to 8, you're going to take the value as, see, the first value for the activity 1 is 6, 8, 11. This is my 1 to 2. In this 1 to 2, 6, 8, 11 is there. So I'm going to take this as TO and this as TP, and the intermediate value I'm going to take it as TL. Because this is my TO value and this is the least value, TO's least value, and TP is my maximum value, and the normal value or the moderate value is going to be my TL. So I'm taking it as 6, 8, 11. Similarly, for my node 2 to 7. For my node 2 to 7, I have 8, 10, 12. I take this as TO, I take this as TL, and I take this as TP. So when it is given in this like in this stage, you can identify which is going to be your TO, L, and P. Probably it will be given only in this direction. You will not have so many ups and downs in the value. It will be like this: a smaller value, a moderate value, and a larger value. So it will be like this. So you can directly take and write the path as well as the activities you can list, and you can list out the TOs, TLs, and TPs. So all this 5 columns are given in the question. You know how this is given, like you're going to just list it out. Now we are going to calculate the TE. We saw that TE is nothing but the time estimate. For that you are going to use the formula TO plus 4TL plus TP divided by 6. When you use this formula, you will be able to get the value as 8.17, 10 and 8.17. So similarly, for each and every activity, you're going to identify. Are you clear? Am I consuming a lot of time today? Okay. So I'm just going to calculate my time estimates. After calculating my time estimates, what have they asked in the question is to calculate the time required for each path. So for each path they have mentioned, so I have listed that there are 4 possible paths. So I need to calculate the time that is required for all the path. So this is only the time for that particular activity, and this is not the time for the particular path. So I am going to sum all those things. When I sum up these things, I get this summation of TE. Either you can write it as summation TE or you can write it as summation T of E, that is TE of eighth path. This is my A path. You can mention like this also. This is my A path and this is my B path, C path, D path. For all the different thing, you're going to calculate the time estimate and you're going to sum up and you can going to write the answer. And now can you determine which is the critical path? Path which takes
D.
Yeah, D, the path D, the path which gives me the maximum value, that is going to be my critical path. So this is my critical path, which has a time of 28.23, probably days, I think so. Yeah, days. So this is the formula I used. Did I skip out any slide? Okay. So from the table, column 7 shows the expected time calculated from the completion of the activity. Path D shows the maximum of 28.23 days and it is found to be the critical path. So again, I am listing the critical path follows this, this activities. That is 1, 4, 5, 8, 6. When I follow this path, it leads to the critical path. Okay, so let me stop with this problem here. Let us continue this problem 2 in our next class. Did you have any doubts? Or you don't understand anything? You want me to repeat it again? This unit is going to be the easiest unit where you can score 100 as well as you can score 0. If I'm giving you a complex structure, you are making some mistake, probably in your first or second step, your entire diagram goes wrong. That will totally, unfortunately, you will be losing all the marks there. So you should be very careful when you're calculating it. You think this will be very, very easy if you start practicing and you think you will score the best. But unfortunately, if you miss out any number, probably 1 or 2 values, that will entirely collapse your answer paper. So do practice it. Let me stop share. You have any doubts? Let me download that in your sheet. Okay. So you have any doubts? And regarding the seminar, by tomorrow I'll be posting the seminar topics for the particular individuals. Probably you'll be working on a team. I'll be letting you know who are the team members and what is the topic assigned for you. Okay. We do have seminars in our course plan. Do you remember? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you'll be presenting in